We are live.
Yay! What's up,
Yay.
guys?
I never know how to start this streams. We don't get a intro yet.
Here's a good
Uh
one. We could do a fake laugh, have all of us just laugh, and then you hit start while we're all
yeah, we
laughing.
just Hey guys, how you
That was
doing?
such a funny joke you just said. All right,
Yeah,
welcome to
yeah.
the
That
podcast.
thing you said like 3 seconds ago was really funny. The
Yeah.
way that you did the thing and talked about the stuff that the two thing is together, and I think I
There we
stretched the
go.
joke too far. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live, and as always, I'm here, your host Ty, in the first and only podcast that uses a table and get a guest every week and get to talk in English and in Portuguese and 3 episodes a week. We are the first that do all these things in a together, you know. And today I'm here, your host Ty, and with me we got Apollo, your co-host of the
Yay,
podcast.
I'm Apollo. I don't know how to say I'm here. That's it. I don't have an intro, so yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. I think our intro is saying that we don't have an intro.
Yeah, we could do this. We could just
Yeah.
all podcast we start saying we don't know how to start. So that becomes the way to start.
Okay, and today we're here with Virtual Panda. You can
Hey.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Virtual Panda. Make YouTube videos, TikTok. I work for XLab, doing media stuff for Vale, and been obsessed with VR since 2017. And yeah, hi.
Yeah. Beyond the House said, "Welcome, Panda. You are in front of the most famous table in VR, and soon the world." Yeah. So
Epic.
to everyone that doesn't speak English or doesn't understand English, a gente pode falar em português, porque o Panda também
Sim.
entende português. O cara é.
Sim, entendo português e posso. Às vezes é difícil me expressar em português, mas dá para falar. Às vezes. Sei lá.
Impressionante isso, cara.
De maneira.
Impressionante.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Live from the Wayne. What? Kadu? What did you say? Okay, I didn't understand. Okay, but before we start the
Okay,
conversation,
can you bring me my phone?
let's talk about the sponsors, our
Yeah.
partners from today. The first one, the one that you need to get to watch these streams, is We Learn, because they make you understand what I'm saying right now. Because if you don't understand what I'm saying, maybe you need to relearn, but you wouldn't know because you're not understanding what I'm saying. But okay, We Learn English course. It's good. It's a good price, and 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 and, and
O que você quer falar?
I don't know.
Pra quem não entendeu nada que ele disse, faz We Learn, por favor. Você vai entender.
Yeah, in We Learn you can just if you don't want to trust me when I say it's good, you can just go there and do the first demonstrative class, when you can just do get to a class with some other people and experience it, and you can see if you like it or not, and then you start to participate on the course and then on the entire course, and you get to learn English, to, I don't know, program, to get a better job, to make money, to see videos, watch videos and stuff, because it is YouTube in English. It's just really bigger than YouTube in Portuguese, so it's good as well. Just watch content, to watch movies. I got to see some movies that don't have subtitles
Yeah.
sometimes, or that just have subtitles in English.
I
So
mean, learning a new language is never useless. It's always
oh,
useful to learn a new language, and English, especially. So yeah, you should learn English. Just
okay.
just
So
do it.
Pedro, can you put the actual video of the TV, because we have the old one right now with the old
Oh,
logo and stuff. I need to
okay.
change it in the Word. But okay, the second sponsor for today is KS Lens. That they just do the best VR lenses, corrective lenses for Brazil. So if you are blind, you just need to get there and use them, and you're gonna be good. Okay, it is difficult to advertise this kind of things in English streams because I don't know if the public that is watching is Brazilian or not. If you are Brazilian, you can't help us neither get unused for any of the sponsor that I'm saying, but we got a Patreon. So if you want to support us somehow, you got the Patreon, and we got many rewards from the Patreon, and we are trying to increase them even more. So if you want to help us, your help is tremendous. You have no idea because the dollar right now, $1, one money for you is 5 money for me. One money is 5 money for me.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. 1 money for you is 5 money for me.
Yeah.
That's one thing that was fun when I lived in Brazil. Is like with very little money, I could buy like whatever I wanted. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, like a standard salary for America, like I don't know what's a standard salary, but like what, $4,000, $5,000, like standard? Something like that?
Per month, I'd have to do the calculations because we usually measure
Yeah.
it by hour. So
Okay.
like minimum wage per hour where I lived in Arizona was like $12, I think. In other parts of the US, it's only $8. So I don't know
Okay.
how much that is per month.
Like $12, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, so let me just do the calculation. $12 an hour times 40 hours times 4. So that's like about 2,000. Let's say
2,000, the
2,000 US
minimum.
dollars would be like
The
minimum.
minimum.
Yeah.
minimum.
That's like if you
Yeah.
convert this to Brazilian real, you get like 10,000.
10,000 reais.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
10
about
times the minimum wage of Brazil.
yeah.
The minimum wage in Brazil is like what, like about a million? Not a mil. 1,000.
A
is what I meant to
1,000
say.
and something.
Yeah,
Meal.
it's 1,200.
1,000.
Yeah,
About 1,200.
yeah.
1,200.
About
Yeah.
1,200,
Which
something like that.
so that brings up one question I have. How much does a VR headset cost in Brazil? Quanto custa
Yeah.
headset in Brazil?
Quest 2 is about 20, like right now it's 2,800, like
Yeah.
yeah, it's about
Wow.
that. So just
Wow.
shy of 3K.
Yeah, importing. You get this price by importing it
Yeah,
from
from
China
like
or USA, like from
So
like
AliExpress or Amazon.
AliExpress and yeah.
Nearly
So if you
3
buy
months
if you
of
want to
minimum
buy it
wage.
if you want to buy it
Yes.
on Amazon, it's like $3,500. The reais. It would be
Yeah.
3,500 reais.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me
yeah.
because you can't compare it just based off of like the raw numbers. You have to compare it based off of like percentage of monthly minimum wage. So like for me to buy a Quest here from like what do we say was the minimum wage? It was like, oh, what the fuck?
It was
So
2,000.
2,000. If it's 2,000, then I could buy like 4 or 5 whatever headsets with that.
Okay.
But for you guys, it takes 3 months of minimum wage to buy
Yeah.
one headset.
And then
3
you don't
months
pay
without 3
anything.
months without buying any
Food.
other stuff like food.
You don't pay
Yeah,
food,
everything
electricity, rent,
You don't
nothing.
need to live, you just need VR. So
Yeah.
Yeah. You can simulate a life in VR.
So like
yeah.
one that we use to put into perspective here a lot is the PlayStation 5. I grabbed a mug. The PlayStation 5 here costs like 5,000 reais. So yeah.
Yeah, that is, and something I wanted to talk before we started everything was, yeah, I really appreciate your presence here.
Yeah.
Like really,
Thank you.
really, like
I'm happy to be here.
yeah, so much. Like you said before, we're exposing him. Like you said before, that's a tiny show, you know, a little show. That's like we don't have a
mini
great. We aren't meaningful to many people. We don't have a great audience, and for you to accept it, really makes us happy. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Of course.
and that's and it is always great to talk with someone that you watch the videos. You know, like
Yeah.
I've watched your videos and I've watched the AX Lab videos, and I
Yeah.
didn't like get two and two together, you know. But
But now you know. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
how that is because when I worked at X Lab, I got to meet some big people that I watched like Via and Thrillseeker. Like
Yeah.
Thrillseeker has an office right
Oh.
next to me. So I like see him all the time now, but like at the time, it's like this is somebody that like I look up to, and I had I watched him before I had my own
Yeah,
channel.
you
So
saw
to be able
through
to meet him, it's
you saw through his
crazy.
face.
Yeah, I've seen his face.
Holy shit.
Beautiful face. I don't know why he hides it.
Yeah,
But,
I think
yeah,
he
it's
posted.
crazy.
I think he posted something. I think yesterday on the community tab on YouTube, face review.
Yeah, I think he wants to do a big community meetup for like TwitchCon or something, or VidCon. I can't remember which one. There's so many events, but he wants to do like a big community meetup, and I think for that meetup he'll want to like show his face. So that's probably it.
Oh.
I see. But I think he said in one of his videos that he hides his face just because he doesn't feel comfortable showing it. Just like
Yeah.
no
but-
particular reason, you know, he just doesn't want to show.
He's gradually, I think, gotten more comfortable with that because like he didn't used
Yeah.
to show any of himself,
Yes.
but now he basically shows his face. Basically, you know, I think he's just gotten more confident, more comfortable with like just showing himself to the world, and I think that's great.
Yeah, we got something similar in Brazil with I must say a bigger YouTuber that Trill is with Hato.
Ah, okay.
Like we got a YouTuber called Rato Borrachudo. That's like rubber rat for anyone that like something like that.
Rubbery rat.
Rubbery rat.
Rubbery rat.
He was one of the first Brazilian YouTubers in Brazil. Like he started doing gameplay in like 2010,
I
2009.
have no idea actually.
Something like at the literal beginning of YouTube. He started before. He started gameplays before the beginning of YouTube. He started with
Yeah.
email. He shared his gameplays via email.
Holy, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then he put on on YouTube when he could put on YouTube, and then he started, and he always wore a rat mask with a sunglass, and that was him. And then
Wow.
after some time, after some weird shit happened with his channel, I don't remember what, but he revealed.
If I remember correctly, his face, he was doing a live stream
Yeah,
and the mask fell off or something,
yeah,
and
because
everybody could
he-
see his face, and a lot of people clipped it, and yeah,
Yeah,
it
what
was
happened?
really bad.
He worked with BI. I think that's BI. I don't know, business something, and he couldn't show his face because he did like comedic videos and exaggerated things, and he worked at serious business things, and the his employers maybe didn't wanted him to work with that kind of stuff, so that he just because he at the time he had 4 million subscribers, but in Brazil that's not really you don't make as much money as you would think with 4 million
Really?
subscribers. Yeah, you can live
Really? Because
with
like
it.
I've always kind of imagined if you were like a fairly successful YouTuber making like normal money in the US, that you would just automatically be like way richer here because of the
Yeah, but
I guess you don't make as much.
because the view from someone from the US is different from a view from someone from Brazil, because
That makes sense because the
the-
advertisers are the ones that
Yes.
really pay
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
so they pay less for the Brazilian view, so the YouTuber get
Yeah.
less money, and then like 4 million you can
4 million is a lot actually. 4
yeah,
million
but
you can live.
you can live with it, but Hato made much more money with his work than he would do from 4 million.
I mean, his work was a good job,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
He
So getting this like to finish talking about the subject, he face leaked in a video in a live stream, like the mask just snapped and then it
yeah.
dropped, and everyone saw his face, and then it was horrible. He got so sad, and then he did somewhat of a face review because he wanted to do a face review on purpose, not leak his face, you know. And then he started using a mask in the Corona time.
Yeah, coronavirus. Yeah.
Yeah, he started using a mask, much like True Seeker, and now he just don't use anything when he is somewhere. And then we got something like this in Brazil, you know?
Yeah. And then there's also like Dream is also hinting at doing
Yeah.
a face reveal. Also, if you guys watch Dream, he's
Yeah.
probably the biggest example of that.
Yeah, I think it is.
I gotta say though, Bill the House, that's not gonna work on me. I'm not gonna translate anything. That's an old trick that I've heard a million times.
Gabriel asked him
what-
to translate fish, you know.
Okay.
But
You can say it's Thai. Don't be so serious.
Well, he did it wrong. You're supposed to say it in Portuguese and have him
Yes.
translate it to English.
Yeah.
You did it wrong. You did it wrong.
I know you did it wrong. So even knowing it, you did it wrong. That shows how much it wouldn't work on me.
I mean, the guy can speak in Portuguese. What were you thinking? I don't get it. You know.
Now I will admit I don't know all the like sexual slang words, but I do know some.
Yeah,
so-
there's a lot of sexual slang words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't need to get into that. Let's
Yeah,
talk
we
about
don't.
VR.
Let's talk about VR. And then I was saying, like, your presence here is really something for us, because we plan to get like big. I think everyone that makes content and have a plan to get big on YouTube, and your presence here helps it in an immense way. You know.
Yeah. It's like you are helping us. We are not helping you.
Yeah,
So
that's the
you
thing,
know?
because people accept to get here, but you don't get anything in exchange. So I know you're doing this because you think it is something nice, you know, and that's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but then there's also like the opportunity to just practice talking to people. Like as a YouTuber, you don't get very many opportunities to do long form like podcast style content, and so
Okay.
it's good to have people to talk to and practice that kind of thing for because
Okay.
you don't want to be asked to go on like Joe Rogan one day, let's say, and have never practiced being on a podcast before.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that makes
I'm not
sense.
saying that would happen to me, but so there's also that, but it's also just fun to talk about VR.
Yeah, it is. And talking about VR, have you seen the Bone Lab trailer?
Man, I worked all day today to bust out a video about the trailer and about Bone Lab. I worked all day today to get that done. That Bone Lab is going to be revolutionary. I am so psyched for it. I was, let's say, like everyone else was up here hyped for it. I was about here before the
Okay.
trailer. Now after the trailer, I'm like as
Yeah.
hyped as you can get.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
I can
it's a
relate
game
to that.
changer.
Yeah,
I can
and
relate to that. I
and, like-
wasn't very hyped for the game, but after seeing the trailer, I want to play the game now. So yeah.
yeah, like everything that was showed in the trailer, apart from some visual downgrades, is going to be in the Quest 2, and that's
Yeah.
I think the biggest what the fuck moment. Like,
Right. That blows
how?
my mind because what other AAA like story? I mean, no VR has AAA games, but what other VR game on Quest is like a full playable, like several hour long experience? Like we only have like The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners,
Yeah,
and now Bone Lab. I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything else on Quest that's like a full story based game.
yeah, you got like Red Matter 2 with 7 hours of gameplay.
I mean,
Yeah, but
Resident
7
Evil
hours
4?
isn't like Saints and Sinners. I spent like 40 hours. In
Yeah,
that.
exactly,
And
exactly.
Bone
Yeah,
Lab,
and-
I easily see people spending 20 hours in it. I don't know how long the
Yeah,
campaign is,
yeah.
but imagine how much you'll be able to replay it because people are going to be doing like speed runs and playthroughs of just each avatar type that you can have. And for people that don't know, in the trailer they showed that mid-game you can pull this thing on your arm and switch from one avatar
Yes.
to another.
Yeah, that
And
was
the different
very
avatars have different stats. So if you become an avatar that's short, you can crawl through small spaces, but you're really weak. If you become an avatar that's big and thick, you can punch people's heads off.
Yeah, I think,
So-
and if the person that does the maps, like the community map, can alter which avatars someone can use, like specific avatars made by the person that did the map, or they can select it and they do the map around it. Like it can be really great. Like you can do some Ben 10 shit with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you have a
Right,
watch.
yeah.
Works mods.
you-
That's basically what it is, isn't it? It is basically
Yeah,
Ben
it is
10. Now that I'm thinking about it, you're right.
You have something on your
but-
arm and you change your form, it's basically Ben 10 actually.
Yeah, with anime waifus. Ben 10 with anime waifus.
Okay, I just muted
Boneworks
myself.
didn't really have that many like levels, I guess, besides like just like modded levels that you could do besides just like what's the word I'm looking for? Sandbox levels where you just kill a
Yes.
bunch of things. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
Bone Lab come out with like mods that are way more interesting. Kind of more I'm
Yes.
hoping they'll have more mods kind of like the Half-Life Alex mods that are like full
Yeah.
games built into a mod.
Like
That's
Valve
what I hope
games,
Bone
Valve
Lab
games always got this kind of maps. Did you play the community map for Porto 2? For the Porto 2
I have
co-op
not
thing?
yet. I
Yeah.
have not. I haven't done very many Half-Life Alex modded maps yet because
No,
I've
no,
just
but
been really busy.
I'm talking about Porto 2 map, like for the Porto 2 game. Have you played something
Oh,
like that?
they didn't do. Oh, I thought you were talking about the modded one, the map that they did for Half-Life Alex that was Portal.
No, not this one. I was talking
I know
about
that exists. I know there's
Yeah,
like a
this
Portal
exists.
map for Half-Life Alex, but you're talking about Portal itself, like
yeah,
actual Portal.
because Valve always got this community stuff going on. With the Portal
Yeah.
2 maps, you got like a really great number of maps in Portal 2 for playing with friends, and like entire games in Portal 2 to play with friends, and race maps. I don't know, they experiment with so many stuff. Then when you
Yeah.
got it to Bone Lab, if that's the thinking they got for the process of making maps and avatars and things, it's going to be huge and like eternal.
Yeah.
You
I'm really hyped to see. Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt, but I
no,
hope.
okay.
Here's what I think: there's an experimental game mode for Bone Lab. We don't know what that experimental game mode will be, but in my head, I'm hoping that it's an experimental multiplayer mode. If it's
Ooh,
not an experimental multiplayer mode, I know somebody's gonna mod multiplayer into
yeah,
it. And so once Bone Lab has multiplayer, you have custom avatars, you have like moddable vehicles, moddable items, moddable levels. It's gonna be like nothing can beat it. It is the one and only game you need for VR, and you'll be
yeah,
entertained for like
yeah.
months.
Yeah.
That's like the source of content creator for for YouTube from VR. You can make a like a Star Wars series comes out. You can make a Star Wars campaign in this game. You can make a Stranger Things thing. You can make an anime. Everything can be done in this game if you can mod
Yes.
it.
And anime
to
is
this game.
definitely possible in Bone Labs now because we have anime waifus in it. I still can't get over that. I think it's so funny that they just added like a maid anime chick into the game.
Oh, Panda. Carlos Art asked, "Is Panda good at Beat Saber?"
Beat Saber, no, not really. I can do one of the Camellia songs on like hard, but that's about it. I
Which
think
one
Beat
of them?
Saber's a fun game. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like it's got like it's like a cool anime vibe song with like
Final
piano
Boss
playing
Chan?
and stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
Final Boss Chan doesn't
But
have a piano.
Okay.
I literally am terrible. I'm the worst at names, even with like popular
Okay,
songs that I
let's
like.
name all the songs. Exit,
No. That's not,
Atmosphere,
no.
Crystallize,
Crystallize.
Crystallize. Okay,
That's it.
Okay.
I like
worked.
that one a lot. Every time I play Beat Saber, I always do that one because that's like my favorite. But I'm not very good at Beat Saber at all. I personally think that rhythm games are great for VR. Pistol Whip is like one of the funnest games. Like I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I
Pistol Whip is very
don't
cool.
play any rhythm games anymore. I'm way more interested in experiences that immerse me into the game, like Boneworks and Bone Lab and Half-Life
Yes,
Alex.
okay.
And Skyrim. Skyrim's one I've been
Skyrim.
playing so much.
Yeah, it's very
I've never
nice.
played Skyrim before, flat screen. I've never played it, and I'm playing it for the first time in VR, and I already have like 100 hours in it.
Yeah, you put the mods that actually made the port good?
Yes. I did a mod pack from Wabbajack. So if anybody
Okay.
wants to play Skyrim in VR, do a mod pack from Wabbajack. It installs like hundreds of mods for you, and then you don't have to even think or stress about it. And then it's probably the best like VR experience you can have, honestly. Because especially if you've never played Skyrim before.
Yeah, I think that's maybe accurate.
I mean, think about it. You have a full AAA game, Skyrim, that you can play.
Yeah.
From the like developers, the Skyrim VR was terrible, but with all the mods, it's about as good as a made for VR game when it comes to like being immersed in the game and the mechanics and all that.
Yeah, and the community keeps implementing things like the plank mod that
Oh my
came
goodness,
out.
yeah, you can grab people and pull them around and throw them around, and people compare it to like Blade and Sorcery, though that's just clickbaity. But you know, you can grab people, and that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like Skyrim was one of the first experience I did in VR, and I spent 4 hours playing it, more or less 4 hours. Like that's like not much time, but this 4 hours that I spent playing it, I think I got to the spider, the first spider thingy, and stopped. I spent 2 hours in a cabin in a house playing basketball with a bucket and a potion.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Have you played Skyrim before though? Like, did you play the regular flat screen?
No.
No. Well, then you need to keep playing it in VR, bro. Come on.
Okay. I really need it. And
I mean,
my
I don't. If it's your style of game, if you like RPGs, it's by far the best RPG.
yeah, like
for
I
VR,
think
you know?
today I more use it to RPGs. I wasn't use it. I was use it to like linear games like
More like Bone Labs, Boneworks, Half-Life Alyx.
yeah, I think like Half-Life Alyx, like Boneworks not as
That
much
have like
because
a linear story.
yeah, because Boneworks got a huge sandbox mode, and that's the
That's
huge
true.
thing from Boneworks, not the campaign, right?
Yeah, the campaign is because Boneworks to me. I think it's funny how much they copied Half-Life in general. I feel like Boneworks is almost like a Half-Life game, just like slightly different. I mean, they
Yeah.
even have like head crabs and like crowbars and stuff,
Yeah.
and then just the way the story is pretty linear, kind of like Half-Life games. So that's probably one reason why it's also so popular and everyone loves it, is because Half-Life is just like, you know, legendary. So.
Yeah, probably. And Carlos asks, "Is Skyrim VR really that hard though?" So it isn't actually. The time that I play, I didn't think that was hard. It is harder than playing flat because you need to actually get into combat, you know. But I don't think it's a hard game.
I mean, Skyrim
Yeah.
at all is not a hard game. Skyrim is a very easy game, but you have so much to do that it isn't a problem it being easy, you know. But in
Yeah.
VR, it's gonna be harder than in flat, of course. You need to
I
go
think
there and hit the enemies with your hand, you know.
I think it's actually, it can be easier though if you want to, because you can just take your sword and just swipe it a bunch of times
Yeah.
like that, and now the person's dead in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
But
but
if you don't do that, then it can be harder. One thing that makes it harder for VR players is if you do all of these mods, you do have to put in a little bit of effort to get the mods to feel good. So one thing I've spent a lot of time on was to get the magic system to feel good.
Okay.
So there's a VRIK mod where I can assign spells to different gestures. So instead of going to my menu and equipping a spell, then casting it like normal Skyrim,
You can
I
do
have it
that.
where if I swipe my hand a certain way, now I have a fire spell. If I swipe it a different way, I have
Oh, that's
That's
another
like
spell.
that's like Zenith
Um,
system. Zenith system.
Yeah, it's like
Or-
Zenith system. The only thing is you have to like set it up.
Okay.
And so it can get, it's kind of, it can be a little confusing and a little intimidating for someone new. But if you put in the time to figure out how the mods work, and then you get it set up where like swiping does the different spells that you want it to, it really is like really fun, and it's not hard at all, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Modding any game is gonna require a bit of knowledge. So
Yeah.
for a first timer, it's gonna be a little intimidating, but you can learn how to do it without too much trouble, you know. It's just a little bit of time and research.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I tried Skyrim and then I gave up on it, then I tried it again, then I gave up on it, then the third time I finally stuck with it, and it's amazing. Like literally I spend so much time in that game. I probably have more hours in Skyrim VR than any other VR game.
Wow. Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't play the VR one so much. I played a lot of the flat one, like probably the most I've played because of the mods. So yeah.
Yeah.
But man, one thing that I love about the VR community is that modding. They like they fixed it Skyrim port VR port, and that's normal for Skyrim things. Like the community
And
is
that's normal for
fixing.
Skyrim.
The community is
That's normal
fixing
for
Skyrim since
Bethesda.
forever. Yeah, but
Yeah,
all
but it
the-
translates to all VR. Right?
yeah, because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Valheim mod. That's absolutely great. Have you played
Oh
Valheim
man,
VR?
the Valheim mod. Yeah, I played Valheim in VR. It's literally feels like a made for VR game.
Yeah. Have you played Risk of Rain 2 in VR?
I have not done that one.
And that's really great as well. It seems like a VR a game made for VR. And just now, I think 2 weeks ago, the Raft VR mod just came out.
Oh, I saw that one. See, I didn't like the Raft flat screen. Like everyone is
Okay.
obsessed with it. I tried it and it felt like a rip-off, crappy, like Minecraft on a boat type thing. I didn't like it.
But I think in
but for
VR,
people that like it, the VR mod seems cool.
I think I've never actually played it, but I think in VR it could be a cool experience because it's the first experience that you can be like in a raft in the middle of the ocean and just surviving. And I think VR needs more multiplayer survive games. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. VR does need just more multiplayer games in general. One game genre that I really like is horror games, and I probably have more hours in like Phasmophobia. Like Skyrim's at top, and then it's probably like Phasmophobia and other multiplayer horror games, and then it's like other ones like Boneworks.
yeah.
I mean, Boneworks and Half-Life Alyx. Because like Half-Life Alyx, once you play through the story, it's like, what else are you gonna do? But multiplayer games, you can spend so much time in those. And horror games, particularly, VR is basically made for horror. Like horror is probably the best genre you could have for VR. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think it is, and especially when you get the eye tracking being the standard from the industry, you can do so
Ooh.
much things in horror with the eye tracking.
Yes, which makes me
So
very
good.
excited for PlayStation VR 2. That's gonna be crazy when we have, and the Cambria
Yes.
headset. Hopefully, this next gen headsets really bring
Yeah.
these things like eye tracking and face tracking. They make it standard so that everyone can have that in a year or
Yeah.
two.
And I think for gaming, the two choices that people are going to stick with for eye tracking is going to be Pico Neo 4 Pro and PSVR 2. I think the
Did they
Quest
announce a Pro?
Yeah, they didn't announce when it is going to come out, but it is like the Pico Neo 4 with eye tracking and face tracking, you know?
Okay, because I've tried the Pico Neo 4. I've tried it on before, and it's pretty good. I have some complaints about it, but generally it's like really good. So if they came out with one with eye tracking, face tracking, that's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and the price is going to be like really lower than the price from the Quest Pro. That's what the
Yeah.
leaks are saying, and I trust Bradley. I really trust Bradley with leaks, so it is going to be
Yeah.
like
Well, what I've heard from people is that they really are pushing hard. I mean, they just released like the Pico Neo Link 3 and they're already releasing the 4,
yeah,
so you can see how fast, how hard that company is moving. And I think they have the benefit of being smaller than Oculus. So, I mean,
yes,
obviously, if you think about it, Facebook is a big conglomerate and ByteDance is another big conglomerate.
yes,
But the actual companies that work on VR, Oculus is relatively small compared to the rest of Facebook, but it's big compared to where Pico is probably still relatively small compared to Oculus. So
yeah,
being a smaller company, it's easier for them to make a product and get it out to the public a lot quicker.
yeah, and they cut some corners to get the headset to be in a similar price to the Quest 2, still being with a higher resolution and a higher PPI and a higher field of view and everything the color pass through, the RGB pass
Yeah.
through. But they took out something that Apollo was pretty mad about in the Pico
Yeah.
Neo 4.
For me, it's like, oh, I'm pretty hyped for this headset. It could be cool. Now I don't want to hear about this headset anymore. I will not buy it. I don't care because it doesn't have the P2 entrance for the headphone jack. You know,
Yeah,
it
no
doesn't.
headphone jack.
So
I saw people tweeting about that, and I'm like, wait, what? No headphone jack? Like, that's crazy. How do you have a headset
Yeah.
with no headphone jack? So then I check out the one that, like, I look at it because I have access to one, and there's no headphone jack. And so then I'm like, well, maybe they fixed the Bluetooth. So maybe the Bluetooth is like good enough. You can do wireless. Tried that, and it's just as bad as Quest.
What?
What I'm gonna try is I'm gonna try plugging in a USB-C to headphone to see if that works.
Yeah.
Kind of like
the
what you'd use on
Bluetooth
like
being
Yeah,
a
and you
the
can do
Bluetooth
like
being bad is something I didn't know, and that's really bad because
yeah. It's
if you
got that
could
lag.
if you could
You do
at
something,
least
and then a second later you hear it.
Yeah, if you could at least use Bluetooth, you could, because you can't use the link with a USB-C headphone, because you need the cable for the link with your PC. So you can't play
Yeah.
PC VR games with a headphone
Yeah.
because the Bluetooth is
And
bad.
that's assuming it even works. I still need to test it, see if that's even going to work, the USB-C to headphone
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
it could be that it doesn't work.
It could be that
so-
it doesn't work. I don't know, but if they made it literally plan on people just to use the built-in audio, which is like not good. It's actually worse than Quest 2, I think. I haven't
Wow.
tried it enough to like
Bruh.
confirm that for sure,
Okay,
but
okay.
it's just from what I've done, it feels like it's a little bit worse.
Yes.
So if that's it, then it's like that's a deal breaker for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for
Like,
me too. It's the deal
Yeah.
breaker for sure. I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
people really underestimate audio. One thing I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I spend a lot of time with VR developers, working on Veil, audio plays such a big role in making a game feel good. So you
Yeah,
could
for
take
sure.
a game that's like a Quest game and it looks bad and it's janky, but if it has good audio, it feels so much better
Yeah,
than it would
and
if it had bad audio.
especially in VR, right? Especially in VR.
Right, because like the audio is like half the experience. So it's like visual and like the audio part. And so if you take a game that's like good, that's like got great mechanics, everything looks great, but then you're using like free sound effects you found online,
Yeah.
it's gonna feel really bad. And then vice versa, if you have like a game that feels really good and you have AAA level audio, nothing can beat that.
Yeah.
And it's weird, right? Because in flat screen gaming, people put a lot of effort in the audio part, Like we
Yeah.
have a lot of effort in the audio from the flat screen games. Like, I don't know, I can't think of any, but a lot of audio. You don't hear complaints
the
about
shooter
audio
You
in
games.
flat
don't
screen
think
games.
about it.
The
Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't
you
think
don't.
about it because it's so
It's
good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
know?
normally it is,
Yeah, and
So
you really only
doesn't
think
make
about
sense to
audio
me.
when it's bad. Well, the one
Mhm.
thing I do have to say is like with the audio, it doesn't cost you anything to have good audio. When talking about performance.
Okay,
So when
okay.
you're talking about like a PC versus Quest, it doesn't cost the developer any performance to have good audio on Quest
Yeah.
versus bad audio. So it's like a no-brainer. You should be like, if you're a developer, you should be spending money on the audio because that's
Yeah.
half the experience and that's going to make your game 10 times better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that's really true too. Like anything really. If you're doing content creation, if you're doing gaming, if you're doing anything, that is an audio visual experience, you need to put some really great effort into audio, and this
Yeah.
will make your product so much better. It's going to stand out so much better. Have you seen some anime?
Yeah, I love anime.
Yeah. So like have you seen the Sword Art Online Alicization?
I have not seen the Alicization, so I've seen
Okay.
like the first like few episodes of it, but then I like stopped and never went back, and I've been meaning to go back.
Yeah, because the audio quality, like the audio design from the Sword Art Online, Sword Art Online in a whole has a good audio
Yeah.
design, but the audio design for Alicization was next level, was
Yeah.
like really good, and
All right,
like yeah, that's what I
For
what I wanted to talk about.
Alicization and for the
I'm
Fate
gonna have to watch it.
series. For the
For the
Fate
Fate
series
series,
too,
yes.
the audio design is just so amazing, It's like when we saw the first time the Alicization, we were like, okay, we were just seeing the show. But after some time, he talked to me and he said, have you realized how good the audio is? Like, take a look at this. And he showed me a fight scene and was like, holy shit, that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and it is really, really amazing, And it
So
enhances
Yeah.
the experience. It
we
enhances a
are
lot.
we are a little more than halfway through the podcast, and I'm going to just stop to say something for you guys.
Cool.
If you are enjoying the podcast and you want to help us in any way, you can just subscribe here, and like if you want to see more of this, because next week we're going to have two other English content creators in this show. We're going to have Rose Gold. I think it's EXO Rose Gold, something like that. I don't know how to pronunciate her nickname. And we're going to
Who
have
is
Spicy Gavino.
Spicy Gavino.
Spicy Gavino. So if you want to watch this next episode, just make sure to subscribe and all this stuff. And if you want to help us even more, you can donate to our Patreon and get some rewards. Okay? And reading the chat a little here, Jonathan Badger said, "What's up, Sty and Panda?" Jonathan Badger is a recurrent viewer for the podcast. So, hello,
Hey,
Jonathan.
what's up?
What's up? And
Welcome,
then
welcome.
Antonio Schneider, that it's one of the biggest names for the VR community in Brazil. He's not a content creator, but he's behind everything.
Yeah,
He's
everything
Okay.
tech related, you talk to him. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and he said, "Hey guys, so cool to see Virtual Panda. I really like his channel. Congratulations."
Ah, bem-vindo. É prazer. I guess not really get to know you, but it's nice to I guess have you in the chat.
Yeah, it is like Schneider just takes care of everything like tech related in every event and
Oh, that's
like
cool.
many channels. Like the last event that we had was the Beat Saber, the Brazilian
Tournament.
Beat Saber tournament.
Okay.
And he was behind like all the
He was like tech director, I believe. He was doing all the I don't know what he
we
was doing.
can't speak
He's
like-
on
He
the
does cool
chat.
stuff.
He's
Yeah,
on the
okay,
chat. He
that
can
works.
say what he was doing.
what were you doing? Now we can get back to our conversation. I just wanted to get
Yeah.
this
I saw
little
somebody
pause
in the
here.
chat ask, what do you guys think is better, PlayStation VR or Quest 2?
The PlayStation
No.
VR 1?
Well,
think he's talking
if
about
we're
the
comparing PlayStation VR
second
1,
one.
obviously Quest 2 is better. But
Yeah,
if we're
yeah.
comparing
Yeah.
PSVR 2 to Quest 2, that's a difficult one because with my Quest 2, I'm right now in VRChat with you guys completely wirelessly.
Yeah.
And like that, there's nothing better than being wireless and playing VR, especially when you think about games like Bone Lab, where you're gonna be swinging your arms and spinning around and riding a go-kart.
Yeah, yeah.
Being
Spinning
wireless
around
is
that,
such
I
a
agree.
freeing experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like while PSVR 2 on paper is probably better than Quest 2, being wireless is just such a nice thing that's like I'll probably end up using both equally.
I if you want to compare PSVR 2 with the Quest 2, I'd probably say it depends on the person who's buying it. Like for you, what do you prefer? You know,
Yeah, do you have
because
a PS5? If you have a
Yeah.
PS5, that's
that's
the
a big
question.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
But
But that's one thing that's great about PlayStation VR 2 is if you have a PS5 and then you buy PSVR 2, like you have right in there a PC VR setup basically,
Yeah,
all for like maybe under $1,000 because we don't know how much the headset's going to be. But if the headset isn't more expensive than the console, then you'll have a whole PC VR like AAA quality experience for under $1,000. Whereas for PC VR, you'd be spending more than that just for the PC.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. And then the PSVR 2, like, because the PSVR 2 probably is going to work on PC in some time. Somebody, it's going to make this happen because the PSVR 1 works on PC with some.
It
thing.
does?
Yeah, you can make it
Oh.
work on PC.
Interesting.
You have
Okay. I didn't know that.
You have some ways to do that, and some are better than others. But even with that weird camera thing and the PS Move controller and all the wires, it works on PC. And if the
Yeah.
PSVR 1 works on PC, probably the second one will work also.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what people do. Because there probably is going to be like some software thing blocking it from working. So
Yes.
like one of the devs at XLab, they have a Steam Deck, and we plugged in a VR headset to the Steam Deck, and we've been trying to get that to work. And he says it works. So if you carry the headset around and move it around on the Steam Deck, it looks like it's working, but in the headset, it's just black. And so it's like a software thing that's literally like it works. Like the Steam Deck works with VR, but some sort of software thing is blocking it from completely working. It's just saying, yeah, this works, but like, no, we're not going to send anything to the headset. So I imagine
Why they
PlayStation
did
is probably going to
this?
have something like that, where it's like it works, but actually there's going to be some weird software thing you'll have to hack to get it to not
Okay.
like be a black
Yeah.
screen. I don't know.
It probably will, but people probably will break it. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
people.
just a matter of time until people break the Steam Deck and make that to work for VR
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
exactly. And considering all the PSVR community and the PC VR community is going to try to use the PS Virtual on PC, maybe this happen even faster than the Steam Deck
Yeah,
one.
probably.
Then the Steam
Probably.
Deck, yeah, because like it's hard to get the Steam Deck. That's the issue.
Yeah. And like the connection is going to be a USB-C one. That makes things even easier than with the PSVR
Yeah.
one, you know? So yeah, I
Hey,
think
maybe we'll have PSVR 2 working with the Steam Deck.
Whoa.
Before you know it.
yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
because if you try to plug in an index to the Steam Deck, you have to have an adapter. But if PSVR 2 is already USB-C, then like perfect. It's already ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just imagine using a PSVR 2 on a Steam Deck. You can do the PSVR 2 like wireless. Like you have a
Yeah,
wire,
that'd
but
be
this,
crazy.
the Steam Deck can be with you.
Yeah, you have a wire, but it's
It's on
plugged
you.
into something that you can put on your pocket. You know.
Yeah, you
So,
can
yeah.
you can just pass the
Yeah.
wire through your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I
that's-
do need to try, I've been meaning to do this, is I want to borrow this guy's Steam Deck and try to connect Quest 2 to it. Because supposedly, connecting the Quest 2 to it wirelessly, you can do it, just not with Oculus Airlink or with Virtual Desktop, but you can do it with like
Okay.
ALVR or something like that. So that's something I've been wanting to try, and if I'm successful, I'll definitely make a video on it.
Okay, nice. So people try to put the PSVR in the Steam Deck through the actual Steam OS, or they tried with the Windows as well.
Windows, they go through. I think they go through Windows.
Windows,
I
okay.
think actually they do like I'd have to ask him, but I think they did like the Linux thing where you have like, I don't know. He tried like all the different ways. I know there's a way that it works. Just like I said, there's just something blocking the software.
Okay.
Like it works, but there's something blocking it from completely working, and I can't remember how he did it, but I'm sure he tried everything.
Okay, got it. That's this kind of things like VR next year is going to be wild.
Yeah.
You're going to have so many players like participating on this Meta, Pico, PlayStation. Like Lenovo did a new headset, but they did a Chinese release. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
a little sad. But you maybe we're going to get Apple next. Maybe I don't know.
Mhm.
Nobody knows, right? When Apple is going to
Right.
release
Nobody
this thing.
knows. Apple upsets me because everyone is such a fanboy of Apple, and they're like, when Apple does it, it's finally going to be good. I've never liked Apple, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like
And
it
it's
either.
just not true. It's just not true because they're gonna make it and it's gonna be like super expensive and it's not gonna be for gaming. I think I've heard
Yeah.
like people at Apple saying
Yes.
it's not gonna be a gaming device.
Yes.
Here's the thing I don't understand. Even Facebook, Meta confuses me because they're like, we want to have this Quest Pro. It's gonna be for productivity. What are people gonna do with it? Like,
Yeah.
like they're not gonna like. I'm trying to imagine what I do for work. I edit videos. I'm not gonna sit there and edit a video with a headset on my face. Like 9 times, I just don't see that being easier than using monitors and having a mouse and keyboard and just
Okay.
it just doesn't make sense to me. And so for Apple to like have that opinion also, it just also doesn't make sense. Like people aren't going to. And here's the thing: maybe doing office work is better on a headset because once you get
Yeah.
it light enough, it'll be nice. But 99% of the population aren't going to believe that and aren't going to accept it until after they've accepted it for gaming. So for the VR to become that thing that Meta and Apple want it to be, it has to become the premier gaming console, and then it could become that thing.
Yeah. And Meta needs to implement so many things productivity related in the headset, like
Yeah.
text apps owned by them, like with the office thing, like the Microsoft Office. They need
Yeah,
to have
Microsoft
their
Office, yeah.
they need to have their own Microsoft Office in the headset for it to work out. When you can just open the Word and type in the headset directly, they need to have this kind of stuff, and they need to be
Yes,
better than the Office to work.
that's the thing. It needs to be better because, like, why would I go to a VR headset to type up a document when I could just go to my computer and type up a document.
Yeah.
Like maybe in 10 years, people are gonna quote me and be like, look at that stupid old guy. He was old fashioned, didn't know what he was talking about. But like you think about people who used to say we'll never get more advanced, or like phones are never gonna be a thing, whatever. Like
Yeah.
maybe that's true, but there's no benefit to doing it in a VR headset as opposed to doing it on a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the one benefit I see, because like, okay, people say that like phones, they say the same thing about phones. Who's going to want to type on their phone, right? That's what they used to
Yeah,
say, because
yeah.
it's like this tiny keyboard, it's going to be awkward. Now there's a whole generation of kids that grow up and that's just normal. Like people will type entire like school essays on their phone, which is crazy to me. So
Yeah.
maybe the next generation is just going to be using VR so much for gaming that using it for other stuff just becomes like second nature, and it just makes sense to them.
Yeah. Maybe
I
I
mean,
think
for now, I don't see it being better than using your PC to work, you know. But maybe in the future, with some upgrades and some other things they add, it could be better. I don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know the future, you know.
yeah.
It's
I
true. We
think
don't know the future.
I think maybe in 10 years, like you said, this is going to be a thing. But actually, when they release the Quest Pro, I don't believe people are going to
Yeah,
transition from the notebook for a Meta Quest Pro. Like
I
this
think
just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense for me as well.
I
Uh,
think Meta was ahead of its time. You know, they should re- start to focus on office work and productivity related stuff later.
yeah,
You know,
but
not right
Yeah.
now.
But I think one
I
nice
think
thing coming from the MetaQuest Pro is that they can see what kind of technology works and what kind of technology doesn't work for the Quest 3,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's true. And I think it'll be good just because I want all the features. I'm not going to use it for productivity, but I'm going to use it for gaming, but I still want all the
Yes.
features. So I definitely am excited for the Quest Pro. I'm going to buy
Okay.
it probably. So yeah.
we can't
Ye-
say that so
Yeah,
so
yeah.
lightly. You
We
know.
can we yeah, no. Like
Well, I normally
15.
wouldn't be able to buy it except for the fact that my job working for Vale, and then also like, it's a business expense for me, and I
Yeah,
guess it's
yeah,
cheaper for me than it is for you.
Yeah.
yeah. Of
And
course. For
then
us,
and
it's like
then
what it would probably be 10,000, 12,000.
Yeah,
15
it's probably
maybe.
crazy expensive. I mean, Quest 2 is already crazy for you guys. I can't even imagine the Cambria.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody's going to go. Like 3 or 4 people are going to have this in Brazil. Like the Tesla thing. There's the WhatsApp group for all the Tesla owners in Brazil. There's the
Really.
all of them, like all the 20 of them.
how many people are there?
All
Yeah,
20 of them.
I'd assume it was like 15 people. You know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then maybe the Quest Pro also has a group for all the Quest Pro owners. Like we have a group for all the Quest 2 owners on WhatsApp, but the group we need to have many groups for them to be
So
enough space
how many people would you estimate has Quest 2 or like any VR in Brazil? I'm
in
just
Brazil.
curious.
Like what?
VR at all,
Like
a good amount
a good
actually,
amount. Like
because you know the leaderboard for Beat Saber alone in Brazil has like 5,000 people or something.
yeah,
Okay.
I think
That's only Beat Saber in Brazil, you know.
yeah, I
So
think I would say something
there
like
there there has to be
20,000,
people that
20,000.
yeah yeah. I'd assume there are a lot of people that don't play Beat Saber that has a VR on Brazil. So maybe I wouldn't go 20,000. I'd go like 10
I think I
to
would
Yeah.
because
12.
I
10 to
think I would
20,
because 5,000 for the Scar Saber, but
Yeah,
piracy
yeah,
is
that's a
a thing
thing.
in Brazil.
Yeah,
So probably
Mm.
most of the Beat Saber players in Brazil, like people that have played Beat Saber, played it.
you are looking away from of your mic. Yeah,
Okay,
your
okay.
audio.
Probably probably most of the people that played Beat Saber in Brazil have played it like a cracked version of it.
Yeah, probably.
So
Most
like
people probably play it on native on Quest,
yes.
cracked version.
So I think
So
20,000 isn't
yeah,
a like a faraway stretch, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I would hope because
because
even that, like, that sounds like a lot, but that's still tiny when you think like
yeah,
there's
this
probably
is
10 million people who own Quest 2s in the U.S.
yeah. But when you think when you think of the Brazilian population, we got like 200 million persons in
Yeah.
Brazil,
It's
and
almost
then
300, I believe.
yeah, I got
Huh?
200,
Yeah, so you're not
250
that much
million.
smaller than the U.S. We're
Yeah,
like 350 million,
yeah.
and so you're not that much smaller.
No. Yeah, Brazil is I think is the fourth biggest country in territory in the world, and the population comes along with it.
Yeah.
So okay, Kaio GC said Apple products aren't meant to anything.
Projects what? I didn't hear it.
Apple products aren't meant to anything. Like he said,
Okay.
it was meant to work. No, apparently Kaio stated that Apple products aren't meant to anything. And then I
Yeah.
think the good thing about the Apple VR headset is that Apple like people that have Apple products are going to look at VR at once.
Yeah, it's nice
Yeah.
for the VR community in general, but I don't like Apple at all. Like they overprice their products and they don't they are not worth their price, Mostly. There
Yeah,
are some that
I think
yeah, mostly.
mainly
I
in Brazil. If you get the iPhone 14 Pro, the Samsung equivalent for that is around the same price.
yeah. I mean, out there
Yeah.
it's better, but here in Brazil at least, like Apple is just so
Nah.
expensive and it's not worth the price, man. You can buy a lot of other things like that will perform better and will be cheaper actually. So yeah, no reason to buy
Yeah.
Apple.
I pay for an expensive phone here in the US. I can't even remember how much it costs, like $800 maybe. But like for all the feature for how much I actually use it, for the features
Yeah.
I actually use, I could probably buy like a $200 or $300 phone that does the exact same thing. So
Dude,
there are
like,
definitely cheaper options for phones. Phones are such a crazy market right now.
yeah, they are.
And that's one thing that like Mark Zuckerberg he wants to be like the next revolution. Like phones were such a big revolution, he thinks VR is going to be the next phone revolution. And so that's why the funny thing is though, I wasn't young enough I'm not old enough to know, but it seems like Apple wasn't trying to force phones. They just happened to be there at the right time at the right moment.
Yeah.
Whereas Facebook is trying to force VR to be something. But so that's the difference, I think, is like I don't think VR will be like phones in this big awesome revolution that changes everything. I think it's gonna be big and awesome for like gaming, but I don't think it's gonna change like our everyday lives and
I
get
think
rid of our phones like
VR
that.
isn't, but maybe AR does.
Maybe AR does. I'm less excited about AR because like I could see VR changing things like maybe in like 5 years, 10 years. AR, it's probably gonna be at least like 20 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I think something
I've
like
only seen. Oh, go
between
ahead.
10 years and 20. I think something in between that.
It's because right now I've only seen one thing in AR that actually impresses me, and that was Tilt 5. Do you know what Tilt 5 is?
No.
No.
So Tilt 5, you have this board that you put on your table that's just like a gray piece of something, whatever. It's a gray mat.
Okay.
And you put on these AR glasses, and now you can play board games with your friends and family that all
Wow.
have the same AR glasses. And it's like 3D AR using that mat as like a reflective surface or whatever. And it's not just board games. So like one of the games they have is like Settlers of Catan that you could play. But it's not just that. You could also play like a Diablo style game with it, and it's just 3D in
What?
front of you. And I
That's
got to try
actually
that, and
impressive.
that really blew my mind. And I'm sitting there like, now I see a use case for AR that makes sense to me.
Okay.
But so far, that's been the only one.
Okay. So we are approaching an hour of podcast. We are at 59 minutes. So
Yeah. We should probably wrap it up soon.
yeah, so if any of you guys want to make a question for Panda, just leave it there right now because we're going to finish this podcast sooner because Panda is a busy man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see one question earlier that I didn't respond to. He was asking why the name Panda. So I'm just going to answer that real quick. Panda,
Okay.
long story short, me and my friends went to Walmart, just a big store. If you're in Brazil, it's kind of like
Yeah,
Carrefour,
we know
right?
about Walmart.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you would, but you don't have Walmart in
Yeah,
Brazil.
Walmart
though.
tried
No.
to enter Brazil, but it didn't go as they expected, and then we don't have Walmart anymore.
But you know about it, so you know
Yeah,
what a
yeah,
Walmart is. It's like
yeah.
yeah. So I went to Walmart and just randomly there was like these big animal heads that you could buy that you like put them on your head and they had panthers, they had like I can't remember what else they had, but they had a panda head. And I thought it was
Okay.
cool, so I bought the panda head. We did a whole thing. We like I don't know, and then ever since then I've just like pandas are cool. So then I was in a band. I'm a musician originally,
Okay.
and the band's name was Deaf Panda. So deaf means what's the word for in Portuguese for you can't hear?
Surdo.
Surdo.
Surdo. Yeah. So just in case anybody's having a hard time understanding. So that was the name of the band, was Deaf Panda, which was funny because we were a band, Deaf Panda. It's kind of ironic.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I got the
Um,
joke.
Right. So the band didn't end up doing anything. We had the name, we were gonna do stuff, but then the pandemic hit and then we didn't do anything. But I
Right.
thought the name was cool, so I started to use the name as my gamer tag. And then I made
Okay.
a channel and it was all under Deaf Panda.
Like,
Then I'm playing
so your channel
Population
got
1.
less than 2 years of existence?
Yeah, it was 2020. Yeah, 2020 is when I started, I guess. Yeah.
Okay,
it's relatively
nice.
new.
Nice
Um,
growth, man.
thanks.
Congratulations.
So I'm sitting there with my username Deaf Panda, and some kid in Population 1 comes up to me and he starts waving his arms around at me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's just waving his arms, and then he adds me, and then he messages me. He's like, "Hey, I saw you were deaf. I'm also deaf. Let's be friends." And I'm like, "Oh, bro, I'm not actually
Nah.
I felt so bad. I felt so bad that I'm like, all right, I got to change my name because the joke doesn't make sense when
Yeah.
you're doing like VR stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Virtual
so-
Panda is what it ended up
So
being.
something that I didn't ask you about. How do you get into VR?
That's a good question. So I after I came back from Brazil to the US, because I went to Brazil for a few years, because I just think when you're after high school, it's important to travel the world and leave where you're from to experience other things. So I had
Okay.
the opportunity to go to Brazil, live there for a bit, learn the language, and just like get to experience something outside of the United States.
You lived
Um,
where? What state do you live?
Rio Grande do Sul.
Okay, that's a
Ah.
nice, cozy, and safe place. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit safer. And it colder too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also spent a little bit of time in São Paulo, but yeah, and then I went back and I visited the Bahia. But anyway, so
Nice.
after
Okay.
coming back from Brazil, after spending like a few years there, I come back and somebody offers me a job to work at a VR arcade, and I'm like, what? A VR arcade? That sounds like futuristic and like what VR is a thing? So then I go the next day to apply to work at this VR arcade, and I try VR for the first time. My mind is blown because
Okay.
living in Brazil, I just didn't realize that this was a thing that was happening. Like
Yeah,
in the
I
rest of
got
the
you.
world,
I got you.
right? Not that Brazil lives like like not that they're behind or anything, but just
No,
like,
no,
I
we
just-
are behind. We are behind.
Yeah. in VR technology, we are behind. Yeah.
Right. So like I just go back and I'm like, what? We have VR? That's a thing. So in 2017, I'm working at this VR arcade. The VR arcade shut down, but I bought one of the headsets from them. And then I ended up selling that VR headset because I was going to school and I didn't have time to use it very much. And then in 2020, I bought the Quest 1. And yeah, then I've been using Quest 1, Quest 2, and
Okay,
I've been
nice.
here ever since.
And what do you thought about living in Brazil? We didn't talk about that. I think that's a
Yeah,
nice.
Brazil is a great country. I like Brazil a lot. The food, I miss the food. My favorite restaurant to eat at
Yeah.
is a Brazilian restaurant that's like right around the corner from me.
Oh, nice.
And Brazil in general is just like a beautiful country. Like I went back to visit, and I want to go back some more because there's just so much to do and see in Brazil. It's a
We
really
need to
beautiful
visit
country.
Rio, and then we do some stuff in here.
Please
I need to
come
visit
to
Rio.
Rio.
I have to visit Rio. That's on my list. So I've been to the
Okay.
Bahia, been to São Paulo, Rio Grande do Sul, and then Rio is one I want to go to. And then
Okay,
I
you
think it'd
need
be
a
cool to see
guide.
the Amazonian jungle.
Yeah.
will need a
you
guide
guide
in
go to
Rio
Rio.
for you to
Yeah.
not like be robbed or like die. So
It's very dangerous. It's not even a joke. It's very
yeah.
dangerous
But
in Rio.
if
So
you
yeah,
are
Yeah.
with someone that knows the place, you
yeah,
can be safer in here,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
For sure.
pass
You just
through.
need to know. You just need to know where to go and
Yeah.
what
Where to
street
avoid.
what street you can walk and which time
Yeah.
it's nice to walk. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's if you have a guide, you're safe. If you don't have a guide,
Yeah.
you'll probably get robbed. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I when I went back to visit with my wife, I knew that I would be fine because we were just going to places that I've already
Okay.
been to. But even like in the Bahia, I'm like, I speak Portuguese, I know the culture, I'm fine, I'll be good.
Okay.
But we still had like a fake phone with us just in case we were gonna get robbed.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
that's
I
nice.
got to exercise again after some time, and I thought, okay, I cannot go out with my cell phone because there's a really like big probability that I'm going to get robbed. So I bought a MP3 player, and then I got out with an
There you
MP3
go.
player. So if someone
Yeah.
tries to rob me, I can say that I was robbed like a week ago, and that's all right.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
probably
you didn't
believe
lose
it.
like something worth hundreds of reais.
Yeah, and then what I wanted to talk about, someone tried to like sell something expensive here to you, like like some like it
Pra
is.
gringo é mais caro.
Yeah,
Pra
we have
gringo é mais caro.
we have this saying when we say
Mm.
that pra gringo é mais caro, like for and
Entendi.
people
Mas a
actually
coisa
do
é,
this.
eu entendo as pessoas. How do I say it? That's a thing, but I never fell for that because, like,
Okay.
by the time I learned the language and like like I said, I was convincing people I was Brazilian, so
Okay.
people would try to like.
Oh,
People
that's
would
nice,
look at
yeah.
me, think I'm American, and walk up to me and try to like sweet talk me. And I'd just be like, I'd flip them off and just walk away.
Fala,
Like,
tipo, qual é? Suave?
you're not fooling me. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
okay,
got
okay.
to live here in like this slang that people used at the time you lived here. It's still something like the same we use today, right? So that's I think it's cool. Like not the real thing because we have a very specific way to communicate
Yeah.
in Rio,
Yeah.
but like the way you talk nowadays, it's like it is not going to be much different from the way people talk today, and that's nice. I think that's a nice
Yeah.
thing.
Que bom. Que bom.
Pena said, Rio não é tão perigoso assim, amigos. Não assusta o cara. Só não pode andar na praia onde foi assaltado. So, Pena, Rio is dangerous. You can't say that. I live in
Mas
Rio.
acho que se você for para os lugares que tem mais visitantes, estrangeiros
Yeah.
visitando, vai ser mais seguro, mas eu não, claro, que não vou para as favelas e para as ruas
Yeah,
que
no.
são,
A
estão
parada é
escuro
saber
à
pra onde tu
noite.
tá indo.
É.
Yeah, but yeah,
Só tem que saber onde você tá indo, né?
yeah, exactly. Rio can be safe. Okay, so Panda, we are at an hour and 10 minutes, I think. Right.
Yeah, I should probably get going. My wife wanted to go on a date tonight, watch a movie, so.
Okay. Like again, I really appreciate your presence here, and it was a
Yeah.
really nice conversation. I'm sorry if I interrupted you too much.
No,
Sometimes
and I probably interrupted you a bunch too. It's just that's how it is in VR because of the delay. You're always going to be interrupting each other.
But you have the right to interrupt us. You're the guest. So
Yeah.
You can
Nah,
you can interrupt us.
No, it was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys having me. I hope this was an entertaining podcast to everyone watching. So
Yeah,
thanks for
yeah.
having me, guys. It's been really fun.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Do you
So
want to
let's
say?
do our ending.
Do you want to say anything before we end this? Anything? public
I
for
guess if you
us.
want, go check out my channel. I just posted a video about Bone Labs. If you want to know 10 things about Bone Labs you probably didn't know, I just posted that video.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thanks.
Okay, I think your channel is in the description. If I didn't forgot to put in there. So if anyone wants to see Virtual Panda channel, if anyone is seeing us and doesn't know him, what I think probably isn't possible right now. His channel is in the description. Okay, and then now we can do our standard ending. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a tradition around here. As we end the podcast, we don't have a fixed way. But basically, I'm going to keep talking with you, and sometime I don't know when it will happen, but sometime he will cut me off, and the stream will end. But until then, I'll just keep talking